What's up, Nail Geeks, and welcome back to another Little Box of Horrors video. If you are new to Indie Polish, if you are new to my channel, hello and welcome. Little Box of Horrors, if you're like, what the hell is that? It is a monthly collaboration between dozens of makers. It's quite a huge box, and it's a la carte. You can get in there, purchase what you want, and each month we have some type of horror theme of some sort. Lately, I feel like it's been getting a little bit loose in that interpretation. It's still kind of staying in track, but just the general umbrella is kind of expanding, at least in my opinion. But I don't have official information, so don't quote me on that. With that said, we have November's theme being the wonderfully talented Jordan Peele and his creations. So we have lots of quotes and all kinds of pop culture, that kind of thing. We have quite a bit to show. I'm going to quit rambling. I have a beautiful lineup for you all to check out. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Kicking this off with BCB Lacquers. This is Candyman, described as a mustard jelly base with a strong red, orange, gold, green shifting shimmer. This one's inspired by the movie. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 150 bottles. Candyman has an excellent jelly formula. This builds up very quickly to opacity. I thought 2 coats on myself was perfect, and it's one of those mustards that I think is going to be pretty universally flattering. It dried down semi-flat, so any top coat is perfect. BCB Lacquers is bringing us a rewind, sort of. This is I See You Shiver with Anticipation, a 2.0 version, described as a blackened red base with red shimmer, specks of gold, and holographic effect. This one's inspired by the Rocky Horror Picture Show. This one's a throwback from May 2022. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 150 bottles. We have a very rich, opaque, dense, super smooth formula. This is so satisfying on brush strokes. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. Cracked Polish is back with Jordan Steele. This is an icy blue-gray steel base with metallic shimmer. This one's inspired by the Nope movie. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. This polish has really made me fall head over heels for some chrome finishes. This is super satisfying on brush strokes, very easy, rich, opaque, and smooth on application. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. This will dry down very flat in a chrome-like way, so you'll want to use something a bit plumping on your top coat. Danglefoot brings us the Narrator. This is a thermal which transitions from an icy white when warm to a rich blue when cold with prominent blue-purple large particle shimmer. This one's inspired by the narration from Twilight Zone. Price is $13.50 and there is a cap of 50 bottles. We have a very jelly-like formula, and it builds up to a soft type of strong glow. I'm going to strongly suggest 3 coats to build it up to opacity and a good glossy top coat. We have a very strong contrast between the warm and the cold states, easy to shift in between them, as you can see on the water shot here, and it does dry down quite flat, indicative to thermals, so use a good glossy top coat. Dark and Twisted has Entering the Twilight Zone. This is a deep darkened teal base with some orange to red large particle shimmer and some small copper holographic glitters. And it's also got some tiny red sparks. This one's inspired by its namesake. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 35 bottles. Entering the Twilight Zone is a true jelly formula, so it's going to be pretty drastically different whether you stop at 2 or 3 coats. If you have a free edge of any type, falsies or natural nails, you will see your smile line regardless. If that bugs you, I'm going to suggest a nude to you base or a blurring base coat. Dark and Twisted also brings us Fangs for Coming. This is a cherry red jelly base with multi-chrome flakes that shift purple, blue, red, orange, and pink, with some scattered tiny silver holographic effect and tiny black micro glitter. This one's inspired by a Halloween episode from Key and Peele. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 35 bottles. Very much like the previous polish from Dark and Twisted, we have a true jelly formula, so it's going to be pretty different if you stop at 2 or 3 coats. Very, very similar. I'm going to suggest 3 coats. This will build up to what you're seeing on my full hand shot there. It's this juicy type of cherry red. I think it's a true cherry. You will also see through your nails, as this is a squishy jello type finish, so my caveat for a blurring base applies here too. Night Owl Lacquer brings us Good Memories Can Hurt the Most. This is a clear base filled with turquoise metallic flakes, multichrome black to red micro flakes, blue, purple, red shifting crystal flakes, and purple metallic micro flakes. This one's inspired by Wendell and Wild, price is $13, and there is no cap. We have a fantastic, another chrome sort of type finish. This is interesting in that all of these wonderful metallic flakes build up to opacity. It pops really well. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat. Paradox Polish in Painful Suspense is an evergreen magnetic with iridescent red, gold to pink flakes and red metallic flakes. This one's inspired by waiting for more info on the next horror movie. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. We have a super metallic-like finish going on here. Very easy to build to opacity. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. If you magnetize it, it's going to take on this lovely contrast between a dark and that nice, almost a foresty, true evergreen, I do agree with the official description, type appearance, and those metallic flakes take on this really nice, almost like fallen leaves against it. You might need a glitter smoothing top coat because this did give me just a touch of texture because the flakes are quite chunky. Paradox brings another magnetic this month. This one is It Takes a Village, described as a Christmas red base with an icy blue and silver magnetic strip, red to gold iridescent flakes, and silver metallic flakes and scattered holographic effect. This is inspired by the Museum of the African Diaspora. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. We have a very metallic finish, very much like the previous one, very easy to build to opacity. I'm going to suggest 2 coats and a glossy top coat. When you leave it unmagnetized, it takes on this lovely cherry type of chrome appearance. And when you magnetize it, you'll get that nice lots and lots of movement from that silvery type of effect. I do agree with that official description. It's a deep type of red, but I think it's leaning a bit on the cherry side, more of that bright type of holiday red. Paradox Polish also brings us a topper this month. This is Monkey Paw Productions, described as a green, cyan, gold, iridescent flake topper with lavender metallic flake and holographic flakes. This one's $13.50 with a cap of 100 bottles. This is very easy on the nail as a topper. It's very dense in how it applies. I think 1 coat over any base is perfect. It did leave me with a touch of thirstiness, so depending on your top coat of choice, you might need a glitter smoother. Indie by Patty Lopes brings us Aqua Dolce. This is a green magnetic multichrome with blue aurora shimmer. This one's inspired by the Nope movie poster. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. This one has a lighter type of formula to it. It builds up to this light type of look. I don't really want to classify it as a sheer per se, but it's pretty light. I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. If you leave it unmagnetized, you'll have this interesting, almost chrome foil looking appearance that's this bluish type of effect against like a smoky charcoal backdrop. And then when you magnetize it, it takes on this very stark contrast between that green magnetic pull and that purpley-ish type of backdrop. Again, in my opinion, this is a lighter type of formula. So I think this is also going to topper really well, as you'll see in the Will It Topper segment. Indie by Patty Lopes also brings us Hanuman. This is a red jelly base with black micro shreds, gold, orange, green iridescent flakes, and red reflective glitters. This one's inspired by the Monkey Man movie poster. Price is $13.50 and there's a cap of 100 bottles. P.S. Yes, I realize that I put Indie by Patty Lopes after Paradox. I always do these alphabetical. I do apologize about that. Once I finished editing, I was like, well, we're here. So it is what it is. Hanuman has a very jelly formula, but it's very dense and rich on application. I'm going to suggest 3 super thin coats, a very thin layer of glitter smoother, and a glossy top coat, and it will leave you with that beautiful jello squishy appearance. Penelope Loose has a human face. This is a blue sky base with gold to green iridescent flakes and copper UCC flakes. This one's inspired by the namesake episode from Twilight Zone. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. So we have a very Crelly-like formula here. It's very dense on application and built up really well for me between 2 to 3 coats. I decided to take it up to that 3rd coat just kind of on a whim, as I did hit decent opacity on the 2nd coat, and I actually preferred it on the 3rd coat. So 3 thin coats and a glossy top coat is what I would prefer, and you're good to go. This has that strong, almost like a marble stone looking effect on your nails. It's very pretty. Penelope Loose also has You Might Also Like. This is a beige Crelly base with blue to purple shimmer and holographic flakes. This one's inspired by the episode namesake from Twilight Zone. Price is $13 and there's a cap of 200 bottles. We have another Crelly type formula, and depending on how you want to wear it, I would suggest between 2 to 3 coats. At the 2nd coat, it takes on this softer looking, almost milky type of effect, but the 3rd coat I personally preferred. I was not mad that I went up to that 3rd layer, and it plumped up really well. Because I took it to 3 coats, I'm going to strongly suggest, if you wear it like what I'm doing, you'll want to go in with a thinner glossy top coat just to prevent any over buildup, too much bulk on the nail. Sweetheart Polish has the Tethered. This is a juicy red with gold to red shifting aurora shimmer, inspired by the Jordan Peele thriller. Price is $12.50 and there's a cap of 65 bottles. If there happens to be a ton of noise around me, including meows this morning, I apologize. The kitties have decided that they're going to have a wrestling match behind me. Anyways, the Tethered has a true jelly formula. I'm going to suggest between 2 to 3 coats. I would describe this red, in case it gets skewed across monitors, as being an almost tomato-like red. It's quite warm. I'm going to suggest a glossy top coat too, to also give you that nice jello-like appearance, and the shimmer takes on this very subtle gold shift. Wicked has a couple contributions for us this month. This first one is Freddie Mercury, described as a bright pink loaded with purple aurora shimmer. This one's $14 with a cap of 50 bottles. This color is very pretty. I feel like my swatches, at least when I was recording, I felt like my photos came out a touch darker. So for color accuracy, I refer to the actual video portion for what I'm seeing in person. This is a lighter type of bubblegum-like pink. The shimmer is a touch on the medium side in terms of how strong it appears in person. It's got a very Crelly formula, so I'm going to suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. Wicked also brings us Keanu Needs You. This is described as a black to vanilla thermal with red to gold aurora shimmer and micro gold glitters. This one's inspired by the movie. Price is $14 and there's a cap of 50 bottles. We have another Crelly sort of formula here, but it's on the lighter side. So I'm going to strongly suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. The thermal properties are quite strong. You'll get an easy contrast between the warm and cold states here too. And the shimmer warms it up overall with that nice bronzy, almost reddish-like appearance that you see on the video here. Again, I will strongly push you to 3 coats on this one, as the formula is Crelly, but it does lean a touch on the jelly side. Wicked also brings us another thermal. This one is My Demons Have Names. This is described as a blue, purple, and green tri-thermal with assorted rainbow micro glitters. This one's inspired by Wendell and Wild from Jordan Peele. Price is $14 and there's a cap of 50 bottles. This has a very similar feel to Keanu Needs You in how it applies. I'm going to strongly suggest 3 coats and a glossy top coat. It will dry down quite flat, so depending on what glossy top coat you're using, you might maybe want to use a glitter smoothing top coat. And that's just because, again, it has a super flat dry down. In your thermal properties, there's a very obvious in-between color that you can see on my ice water shot and on my photos here. Wicked brings us Twilight Zone. This is a blue to purple multi-chrome with blue shimmer and a touch of hollow. This is 14 with a cap of 50 bottles. Twilight Zone has a almost metallic type feel and how it builds up. I think the overall multi-chrome effect is on the more subtle side. It does take on this blue glow that you're seeing on the video here with a very subtle purple shift. I was trying to catch the purple shift on my macro shots. I don't think I was very successful, if I'm honest, but it is there. But again, you'll see it at the most extreme angles. This will dry down very flat, so you'll want to use a good glossy top coat to kind of plump it up, as it also dries down with this kind of flat effect, for lack of better words. Wicked also has a Crackle duo for us this month. This is the vintage XMas Crackle duo. We have a red and a green. I chose to show them over black to show how it would look over, I guess, as a true topper test. And the red and green both respectively pop over black, but it's on the more subtle side. So if you wanted to get that more festive, quote unquote, appearance, I think white or really any lighter type of base cream color is going to work the best. But this is a horror type shop. So not only did I think that black would represent the darkest color that we could probably go to as an undie, but you know, I kind of wanted to keep it just a little more goth, if you will. I would strongly suggest you use a glitter smoothing top coat and a glossy top coat to prevent any texture as it dries down. And then lastly, we've got Zombie Claw Polish. This is extra terrestrial, described as a gray base with blue, purple, pink shimmer that glows in the dark yellow. This one's inspired by the Nope movie. Price is $13.50 and there is a cap of 50 bottles. I want to note on my photos here in just a moment, you will not see it glow in the dark. Unfortunately, I did not know that it glowed in the dark when I was swatching it. And in my rush with last minute packages to get this video out, I did not get a chance to get that glow in the dark shot. So I do apologize about that. This has a jelly-like formula. It builds up really smooth at 3 coats, and I would suggest a glossy top coat. It has an almost milky effect in how it dries down. And we're going to wrap this up with the Will It Topper segment. This is where I use a black swatch stick to demonstrate if polishes have layering capabilities. Candyman works really well over black if you wanted something super vampy. I See Shiver is entirely too opaque. I would not recommend toppering this one. Jordan Steele, same thing. It is very, very opaque, beautifully so. So I would not topper it. The Narrator, maybe, but possibly over white. I just don't think you're doing it justice toppering it. And both Dark and Twisteds do work over black as they are true jelly formulas. Please note, if you do anything lighter than black, obviously they're very tinted. Night Owl Good Memories works very well too. If you wanted it a little less dense, you'd need to dry brush it on. Both Paradox magnetic polishes work decently well, but again, I just don't think you're doing them justice. The red one I think looks really cool, maybe a little bit more so than the green if you are going to topper it. And Patty Lopes, both of them look pretty cool. Aqua Dolce, I think, looks really cool over an undie of some sort, especially the darker variety. Hanuman is a jelly red. Personally, it looks really vampy and cool, but I wouldn't topper it. Penelope Loose, both of them are too curly and creamy smooth. I think if you wanted to topper them and you just kind of wanted to go against the grain, just go in light on your coats to prevent any type of potential streaking. Sweetheart Polish, very much same thing like the other jellies in this video. And the Wickeds, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't topper any of these as we have thermals and we've got these chromy like metallic shimmers, things like that. You're not doing them justice. But again, if you wanted to do your own thing, I would not shame you. The whole point of polish is to be creative and unique. And then lastly, the Zombie Claw. Yes, it does work per usual, but just prevent streaking with going in light on your coats. Little Box of Horrors goes up for a pre-order style shopping starting November 18th and will run until November 30th. I will link you all below to the LBOH website, and I'll also link you to the Facebook group if you wanted to get in there, join that, and see, spoiler threads, all that fun stuff, posts from other makers, all that. So as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.